What's up, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the Falcons in Focus podcast, presented by Ticketmaster, recorded in the Ticketmaster studios. I'm Scott Bair. That's Tori McElhaney, man of the hour. Defensive lineman Zach Harrison joining us.
Yay!
And Zach, I'm going to start off. We're going to go back in the time machine just a little bit.
Let's do it.
To your sister's wedding day.
Did you think this is where we were going to start the podcast?
Okay, good. So Tori found this on an interview, I think, with your mom.
Your parents.
Right, with your parents.
Which I love them, by the way.
Right. So
shout out mom and dad.
Yeah,
So,
love my mom.
so what I heard is on your sister's wedding day, she got married in 2022. 2021.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Okay, so anyway, so you go through the reception. You're paying attention to this big day with your family, but to the ceremony. But once you get to the reception, you either find a phone or a TV or something, and you turn on the NFL draft.
I had to.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, I had to. She knew that too. I had to watch the draft because during the reception I was locked in and I was like, all right, I'm gonna focus. This is a big moment for my sister and my family and for me. But afterwards, I'm locked in. Like I got to see where my guys go. So.
Yeah, because so that would have been after your which year?
Junior year, maybe?
Junior year, sophomore year?
Sophomore. I think it was my junior year, going into my junior year.
Right,
Gotcha.
yeah. So a lot of your friends are getting ready to.
Yeah.
So, like, how can you skip that?
Right.
Nah. I'm
Right.
texting my mom updates under the table, like Coop just went to the Broncos, like so and so. So, yeah.
But the funny part about this is that as I was doing research and everything, I actually found out you're like a NFL draft buff. Like you've been watching the NFL since what, like 7th grade, or the NFL draft since like 7th grade. It's a day or a weekend that you actually have been very into since you were in like middle school. I guess my question is why? Because I know that there are a lot of big moments and I feel like everybody's like, oh, I watch the Super Bowl every year, and I'm sure you did that too. But the NFL draft specifically, every single year your mom was saying y'all got wings and y'all watched.
I mean, we used to watch. Me and my mom used to watch football like every Sunday, all day, every Sunday. So I mean, we were big football hands. I even taught her like the game. We used to have like little Super Bowl tests where I would give her quizzes on things that she needs to know about football. And I mean, the draft was just part of that. You know, I was just a big football guy, and I wanted to watch the draft. So we'd order pizza, wings, sit down the first night, watch it. Sit down the second night, watch the whole thing, and then the third day we kind of pick and choose what we're going to watch. And then once I got to college and started knowing people in the draft, I was like, oh, now I got to be locked in.
Yeah, it's kind of personal, right?
Yeah, no, I want to make sure they go or where they go and see where they go and just to kind of celebrate because I'm happy for all of them.
Now we have to expand on this football test questionnaire thing.
Yes.
Right? Have to do it.
Yeah. This was also brought upon in the research about this questionnaire, the Super Bowl
This is
questionnaire.
one of my favorite points. It's such an interesting story, but this one, I dig it.
My favorite thing is that it's like, now correct me if I'm wrong, but you would make these like 10 questions and give them to your mom for Super Bowl Sunday, and it's like, okay, Mom, I'm quizzing you on not just the rules of football, but what wasn't there like more to it? Is like specific body types.
Yeah, she knows nothing about football. Like she started at ground zero. So
Okay,
we'd
gotcha.
have to be like, okay, this is a receiver. Receivers are usually taller and smaller.
Yeah.
And the linemen are short or bigger guys, and the running backs are a little short. She calls them short and squatty.
Yeah.
So I write A, short and squatty, B, whatever, and she would take the test. So now she knows. I'll be like, oh, he plays running back. To this day, she'll be like, oh, yeah, short and squatty. I know what that is.
Gosh,
Has she met Bajan? Because he's not really short and squatty.
I don't think she's ever met B, but I mean, like, if you look at him
if
you look at him on the field compared to everybody else, he looks short and squatty. So like that's how she sees football.
Right, yeah. Have you told Bajan he's short and squatty?
No.
Maybe Tyler, though. I mean,
Tyler.
I wouldn't call any of my teammates short and squatty. It's just so my mom knowing watching the game, that's a running back. I know what he's supposed to look like.
Gotcha.
She doesn't know safeties and corners. She doesn't know the difference.
Right.
To this day, she'll be like, what's that? I'm like, safety, Mom. She'll be like, oh.
Cool.
Yeah, like so. Yeah.
She's like, he's back there somewhere. Well, that's another part of this is that your family, well, your mom and dad specifically, they joked. I actually saw this where they kind of said we had no impact on getting him to be a great football player. They're like, we were just there to support.
I mean, that's part of it.
I mean, that is part of it. And they're like, but nothing came.
No, it's funny you say that because like, they weren't the ones pushing me to go out and like practice or run in the backyard or anything, but like. Personally, I feel like they had everything to do with me being where I am today.
I like that.
And like not in the football side, just like the things they instilled in me, you know, is what got me here. They might not have been like, Zach, wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go run these stairs.
Right.
But just watching them, how they work every day and how they go to work every day and they come home and they still, you know, did a great job raising me and my sister just like that, day in and day out of you gotta work hard, you gotta come to work every day and you know, you gotta perform. That's, I feel like, what got me here. It's not. So yeah, they know nothing about football. Like to this day, they try. They try.
Okay.
They try their best. And I applaud them for. My dad would text me like, cover 3. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, Dad. Like, cool, Dad. But like,
good try.
But no, they not football wise, but they had a huge. Like they are the reason why I'm here today. So.
Yeah, I love that. And you talk about your dad. Your dad did say. He was quoted saying, we looked at it, football, as just like people jumping in piles. And he actually taught us the game itself.
Yeah, to this day, my mom's like, you're just running around in circles.
Like, there's
like,
a little bit
It's
more.
a little more complicated than that.
As long as you enjoy watching, Mom, I'm good.
Yeah, right? As long as number 96/9, right, is doing something.
Yeah.
Number 9 was your college number,
Yeah.
for those who didn't know. Is doing something good. That's a positive thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we can always kind of build from that.
Yeah,
so,
my sister doesn't even know when to cheer. She doesn't. She likes to watch them at home. She doesn't even like going to the games because she's like, I don't know what's going on. It's too loud.
She's like, there's no yellow line on.
I just want to go home. I'm like, all right.
All right.
Well,
Is there something to be said though about the fact that like when you go home, it's y'all aren't really probably talking about football? I know I appreciate that in some of my friends that they know nothing about the game. So when I go and hang out with them, it's like we talk about other things. Do you kind of appreciate that with your family?
No, most definitely.
Yeah.
Because like after the game, I hear about guys like, oh, I'm gonna go break down the film with my dad or watch the film with my family. I'm like, I go home and it's like, I worry about that. Like I go home and I'm watching the film and my parents just sit on the couch and we'll just watch whatever's on TV or do whatever or talk about whatever. It's not like, oh, you did this well. You got to work on this. It's like, because they don't know.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't feel any of that pressure from at home. It's all from myself and my internal drive, you know, to get better and to do what I need to do. Whereas I can go home and not have to worry about feeling that from them at all.
Right.
Is it nice, since we're kind of on this topic right now, is it nice to have a space where you're just Zach? You're not, 5-star recruit or Ohio State star or NFL draft pick or Atlanta Falcon. You're just
most definitely.
their kid.
Most definitely. Like that's huge. Just being able to really just be myself, be who I've always been since I was little, because they know me better than anybody else. So I just get to go and be myself around my family, especially after games. They come to every home game, and so I come home and like I might be stressed about a game or it might not have played how I wanted to, and my mom doesn't care, like my dad doesn't care, my sister sure as hell doesn't care. They sure don't care. So I mean, I could just go home and just be with my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how they are at games? Because in this interview that I watched, it was actually really funny them talking about how they watch football. Because I feel like a lot of parents that I talk to are like, we're so nervous and it's just like all encompassing and we're pacing, we're doing these things. And do you know how your parents are when they watch games?
I can assume. Like
Right?
my dad probably just sits there and just watches it the whole game, doesn't move,
That's
Nailed
what
it.
he said.
Nailed
doesn't
it.
blink, just sits there and watches it. And my mom is probably like, she told me some games she said walk around and pace back and forth
Right.
because she just gets nervous and
Yeah.
antsy. I'm like, so they're very different styles, but I can, yeah.
Who are you more like when things hit when things hit the fan?
Yeah, honestly, my dad.
Really?
Like the older I get, the more I grow up. Like we're the same person. Like I always joke like I'm Jimmy Lee Harrison Jr.
Right.
We're the same person. We're the exact same person. Just kind of like I told you, we're just calm and
Love
steady
'em.
throughout everything.
Yeah.
So this kind of annual tradition of sitting down and watching the draft, right? And you kind of carry that through when you're younger, and you got these questionnaires, and it's a big part of your year. A big part of your year, like a big moment. So much so you're watching it at your sister's wedding reception. But then we get to the 2023 draft.
And this is what's so great about this like storyline and this theme is like you've spent years watching this draft weekend and like taking time out of your life to sit down and be like, I'm watching the draft. Whether it's people I do know, people I don't know, I'm here to watch the draft. But then it comes time for you to be drafted, and the TV's not on. Is that right?
It was on, but we weren't. I wasn't watching it.
couldn't do
I
it.
wasn't.
Right.
It was not fun until I got drafted.
Okay.
Like,
Please tell the
obviously,
people what you were doing.
We were playing cards. We were playing Uno. It was me and a bunch of my friends came over. My aunt, my sister, and my brother-in-law. We were all just playing Uno. Yeah. It's like I can't sit here and just watch the draft. Like I'm too stressed. So like we just play Uno, and then we just played Uno until my phone rang, and then it was a good night after that. I couldn't stop smiling. Everybody was happy, so it was good after I got the call. Before it's I have a whole new outlook on the draft after going through it and being drafted.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Did y'all finish the game after y'all got drafted?
Honestly, I don't remember.
That's great.
There's people ask me about draft night, and it's kind of like a blur.
Right.
Like I just remember getting the phone call, and then like it's just
it's on from then.
It's just like whoa, like it just kind of happened. Like I remember talking to some like Coach Smith, and then Mr. Blank, and then Mr. Terry, talking to them, and then I don't know what they said. I don't know what I said. I just like I'm a Falcon, and my dad brought the wrong hat out. I'm like, no, that's the wrong hat. That's the wrong hat. And so and then all my friends were cheering and then like recording, and then I hugged all my family, and then we just kind of hung out and enjoyed the night. Yeah.
It's funny. We do have that phone call recorded, so we'll have to give that to you so that you can at least have a recollection of what you said. It's like, what did I tell Terry Tano?
Say something? You did say that you were going to come ready to work, so that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Nailed that one.
Yeah.
Stuck the landing. Stuck the landing on that.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, because you're, especially when you get to Ohio State, and you know when Chase Young goes and guys in your position group that you see go on to thrive, and I'm sure you texted them and you were happy for them. When you're in that position, is your phone flooding with all your teammates being like, yes, let's go? Like is that just how it is?
No,
because at a place like Ohio State where so many guys get drafted, I'm just curious if it's kind of like once you're in the club, right? Like, is that reaction pretty cool?
No, it's cool seeing like guys, reach out, guys who I, played with and looked up to. It's like I want to be like them, being drafted one day and play good football. And they're texting me, and then guys I played with younger than me texting me, and then I got friends from high school texting me, coaches texting me. So it's like it was cool to see all the love I was getting from all the people who had helped me get to where I'm at in my journey. So it was really just like a blessing to see all the congratulations and stuff like that.
And it's on his phone, so he can go back through the text messages. It's not just in that post-draft blackout where he doesn't remember anything that happened. That's important stuff.
So we're talking about Ohio State, and so I actually want to rewind a few years and going back to when you're a kid going through the recruiting process, and you are living really close to Ohio State, and you're being recruited by all these other schools. I think your parents said that y'all had 3 laundry baskets full of mail from other schools at one point. First question, what did you do with all those things that got sent to you from other schools?
My dad has them somewhere.
They're somewhere.
He doesn't throw nothing away, so he's got all of them somewhere.
They're in the basement somewhere.
Clothes forever.
Right,
Somewhere.
Yeah, from every school available. So when you kind of think back to that time in your life, what kind of sticks out to you about the whole recruiting process? And you're a 5-star recruit trying to decide where you want to go. What was that process like for you?
I hated recruiting.
Yeah.
Looking back, I just wasn't a fan of how do I say it? I wasn't a fan of just all the attention, I'd say.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, play high school football, focus on that, and then go play college football after that. It's just kind of like the phone calls from all the coaches and the letters and the mail and the visits, and it gets kind of exhausting. And then everyone's telling you that they want you, they need you, and how great you are, and you kind of got to sort through all that as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid.
Right.
You think but you're like you don't really know. So you kind of got to sort through all the real and who's being genuine and really kind of look at it like, all right, what's the best situation for me? Like nobody else, like not my family, not the town, the city. What's the best situation for me?
Yeah, and I think that's you always hear when you get to the college level and you play for a big program, or you get to the NFL, you're over 18, you understand what you're getting into, you've grown, but when you're a teenager under the pressure of, not to get all deep here, but under the fact that everybody's got a phone now, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's taking pictures of you at games probably. I read a crazy story that somebody put on social media or reported that your dad was driving on a certain highway, all these types of things where you're under this crazy microscope.
Yeah.
That just seems and it's not. We have a bunch of people sit in this chair who may have had a couple offers, but for you, 5-star top 10 recruit in the country, it just seems kind of overwhelming. And was it like that too? You're seeing all this like reporting that's
Yeah, what was kind of the craziest thing that you remember about that time?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a blessing, and I knew it was a blessing the whole
we
time.
Know that. Yeah.
But especially like the reporters and stuff. I never had experienced, never did interviews before, and after games, after camps, I would have to talk to reporters, and they'd ask me like, what I like about this school, where I'm going, what I like about this coach, how I feel about this coach, and I'm like, dude, like, bro, I just want to go home. Like, I'm hungry. I want to go get Chipotle. Like, why are you following me to my car? Like, why are y'all following me and my mom to my car after a camp? So it's kind of one of those things where, like I said, it's a blessing, but you're like, I still felt like just a regular kid, who just happened to be good at football.
Yeah,
whereas sometimes I might not have been perceived as that, being this big 5-star so and so from Columbus, Ohio. So
yeah. Did you, when you kind of think back to that time, and we were going through as we're researching, and you had been quoted saying even then you were like, I can't wait for this process to be over. And I think that's honestly very fair, because exactly what you're saying, you're a 17-year-old kid just trying to figure it out. And for you, can you look back now at 23? 22.
Yeah.
Can you look back at 22 and be like, see it in a different way? Or is it still one of those things where you're like, I'm so glad that part of my life is over?
It's both.
Yeah.
Like I said, looking back, I'm like, oh, I was blessed, because like a lot of people don't get to experience that, and I did. But I was not a fan of recruiting. Like you can even ask my coaches at Ohio State. Like to this day, Coach Mick is like, bro, you were my least favorite recruit of all time. And I was like, bro, I'm sorry. I didn't.
I'm so sorry.
Because I would just go on visits, and people who close to me think I'm a pretty talkative guy. But like if I don't know you, I don't have much to say. So I would go on visits, and I just really wouldn't talk. Like we would sit there in meetings, and they would present their presentation, and I'm taking it all in. Like I'm very observant. But like, what do you want me to say? Like what you want me to say?
Yeah.
I'm absorbing. I'm evaluating where I want to go, and then they would have the photo shoots, and I'm like, I'm cool. Like I don't want to do that. Like I just don't want to spend
into all the
15
flash.
minutes putting on a jersey and then taking pictures and then taking it right back off. Like that just wasn't that important to me. But like I said, looking back on it, I'm like, man, I was blessed to be able to travel around the country and go see all these different colleges and go be recruited and go experience game days across the country and like I said, be a highly recruited guy and be able to experience that. But back then I was like, bro, I just want to go play football,
Right. And then once you get through that, you choose a school that's, I want to get the number right, 24 minutes with no traffic.
I've made it in. We're not gonna say. I'm gonna leave
we'll
that
just
out.
say significantly less time. Yeah. When there's a meeting happening, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're from Lewis Center, Ohio. So playing that close to home, your family's, as we've discussed, very important to you. Your close circle of friends, who I think, as we read, are in that same crew of like, they're not like, so where are you going, dude? Like,
Right.
To have that circle close, have your parents be able to drive up the road to games, to be kind of pride of Ohio a little bit there. Like, was that a really cool experience for you?
No, playing down the street was amazing. Like, playing in my backyard was a dream come true. Looking back on it, like, just being a Buckeye, growing up and seeing all the kids wear Ohio State jerseys, and remember the Buckeye guy would come. He's a fan with all Buckeye gear, face paint. He came to the school one day, and we had a whole assembly for him. People love Ohio State and Columbus, and to be able to go be a part of that and play for the Buckeyes as a kid who grew up in Columbus, I mean, really can't ask for nothing better than that.
It's cool too, because you kind of entered into this time because you decide to go to Ohio State, and then you kind of follow in the footsteps of some of these like mammoths of college football. You think back to like Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Chase Young, who you played with for a year. What kind of, did you ever feel like in that moment, in your years there, that you're like, I have to live up to these guys? Or did you ever feel like, you know what, I'm my own person and I'm going to carve my own path? Like, what was how did you balance that?
It was definitely a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So like early on, like especially being there with Chase and seeing how good of a player he was.
And 2019 was a huge year for him.
He snapped. He went crazy. Like he went crazy. And like seeing that, it's like, oh, like that's me. Like my time is coming. And then, sophomore year happens, and I don't have a big season. And then junior year happens, and I kind of had to sit back and realize, like everyone's journey is different. Like the Bosa's were the Bosa's, and Chase Young was Chase Young, but I'm Zach Harrison. So like I'm gonna do it my own way. I'm gonna play it my own way. I'm not gonna compare myself to anybody else because people are already doing that enough. So why would I put that pressure on myself? You know, when I already got enough pressure to go out there and perform. And I feel like that's kind of when my play took off, and I stopped worrying about I gotta have this many numbers and this many and this. And I'm like, you know what? Now I'm gonna just go out there. I'm gonna play my hardest. And try to help my team win and just enjoy every single victory because at that time my career was closing out. So I'm like, I don't got too many of these left, so I'm going to just enjoy the hell out of every one of them.
Right.
It's funny, too, because, sorry, I'm cutting you off, but when I was doing, so the night you were drafted, I do interviews with, like, guys who scout you and your new assistant coaches or position coaches and all that. And something that came up every single time I talked to somebody the night you were drafted was like they were talking about this, about how you almost like reinvented your own mindset towards the end of your college career. Is that what it felt like in the moment? Kind of, it's what it feels like as we're talking.
Yeah, most definitely. And I even, it's funny you say that because I even like try to help some of the other guys who were at Ohio State with that. I'm telling them like, bro, like don't try to be somebody else. Just go out there and be you, and that's gonna be enough if you put in the work. Because I know you guys have, and so maybe they don't have to have the same lesson learned by themselves that I did. Whereas like you don't got to be. The Bosa's and Chase are great players. They're legends at Ohio State. Like, and obviously you want to leave your mark and leave your impact. But I'm Zach, and I'll always be Zach, and that's all I can be is myself. And so, having to just learn that and just be comfortable with just, being myself and knowing that like I said, everyone's path is different. Everyone's journey is different. I'm in the NFL now, and I feel like I'm getting better, and I'm improving, and I'm making, strides to be the player that I want to be. But you can't compare yourself to others because what does that do for you, really?
Yeah, and I think that's you have such a unique journey that I think there's so few people that can truly understand the level of because talk about being in like a small club. That's a pretty small club. Yeah. And to have to go through that and learn, as you're saying, the mentality that it takes. I just think it's so interesting. And then you go with guys that you're talking about. Chase Young, I don't know if you probably don't read very many quotes, but he's as he was leaving, the phrase "hard worker, physical freak, best is yet ahead of him." He really seems to be a huge fan. Yeah. What was that relationship like as you were kind of going through it and getting to know him, and he was getting to know you, and you guys were playing together?
Yeah, no, that's my guy. Definitely learned a lot from Chase just watching him, just watching how he worked every day and how he played and how he carried himself. So it's like I said, he's my guy. I really don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
It's fun too. I know we're all serious, but I'm going to get us to something I've been wanting to ask about because this came up in our research. You obviously took you early enrolled to.
I'm glad you're going to ask this.
Yeah,
question.
You early enrolled to Ohio State, which meant that you essentially had to take more courses or something along the lines.
To like make sure that you're like ready to graduate.
Yeah, I think I took a English class over the summer one year.
Okay.
So I could early enroll.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you had taken kind of like your core classes, but you had to take something called
electives, right?
Yeah.
Like your last semester.
Yeah.
College Survival 101.
College survival skills. Yeah. Shout out Ms. Vasilius.
What?
Yes.
What in?
I hope she watches this.
I'm so curious to know
Especially
what
now that
was
you've been through college.
taught. Yeah. What was taught in that class, and did it help you at college?
This is gonna sound really bad. I knew I had 5 electives. After football season, I had 5 electives.
Right. Yeah.
I'm done with high school.
Yeah. No. You were already.
I had a Deadpool book bag with 5 folders in it. Like, and I wouldn't open it because I just had electives. So like honestly, like I really didn't learn much. Like again, shout out Ms. Vasilius because she was cool. Like she was like she actually did help me like kind of like grow up a little bit. Even in those like short couple of months I was with her, she helped me kind of grow up a little bit. But boy, I was chilling chilling in class.
When I saw that class title, we about died.
We were laughing so hard, and we were like going around on our side of the office and like, what would you want to learn in like college survival class like 101? And it was like laundry.
No, all that. But I remember the whole time they were writing their college essays, and like I had already been accepted.
Right. Yeah.
So
we're already in.
So I'm like,
doing that.
what am I?
I'm already surviving.
I was sitting. I just watched YouTube during class. Like, I would ask to go to the bathroom and come back right before the bell rang. Like, and it was my last class of the day.
so you're done. You're out of there.
But she, like I said, one of my favorite teachers.
Yeah.
But she was like, she understood it. She was patient with me. She was cool
yeah.
with me. She was like, Zach, you can't just leave class. So I'm like, all right. I'll stay in class. Like I'll learn and listen. But again, shout out Miss Vasily. It's one of my favorite teachers I've had, in high school.
That's so great. I love that so
awesome.
much.
I'm never going to be able to say the name of your high school.
Yeah, how do you say the name of your high school?
Olentangy Orange?
Olentangy Orange. Yeah, I tried and failed.
Olentangy?
Yeah. I tried a bunch of different ways. I'm like, I'm just going to.
I just said, I was like, I'm not going to say
right.
it.
But yeah, I mean, to go from, from high school and your experience and the support system that you had, obviously to Ohio State and now to where you are, just such a fascinating journey. But before we let you get out of here, everybody in this chair answers
5-ish.
Essentially, it's the same 5 questions.
Yeah.
We used to call it rapid fire, but it's never rapid.
It's not really rapid. It's just fun questions.
All right, so we're just going to start working our way through them.
All right, I'm ready.
Here we go. Your favorite play of your career? High school, college, Pee-wee, pros? I don't care.
Probably my interception versus Penn State.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Yeah, probably that. I can't. No, it's that. Because I remember coming to the sideline telling all the DBs, like, nah, bro, I got to pick. Like, y'all can't tell me nothing.
That's it.
Yeah.
Trump card.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Then I do have a follow-up. For Falcons fans who don't know, Zach also played tight end in high school.
I played receiver.
You played receiver?
Wide receiver.
Okay. Well, there is a hilarious picture.
There is a very funny picture.
Of Zach running with his high school teammates. I believe they're all skill players. And they're all to, like, your shoulder.
If that.
If that. So in addition to your favorite play, what's your favorite offensive play? Is there anything that jumps out?
Fade. Goal line fade. Just throw it up and let me go get it.
Which I'm sure was probably pretty
I'm sure it
successful.
worked.
Yeah. No, if you ask any of my friends, like, a lot of my friends are DBs, like, I hang out with closely. To this day, I'm like, bro, line it up. Like line it
let's
up.
go.
Like,
You just need to tell Arthur Smith now, hey, I can do it.
I don't know about here. Like, this is the National Football League. I don't know if I can play it here,
but back then, goal line fade, automatic.
Automatic.
What is it?
Just throw it up.
They say on the Kelsey's brothers have a podcast, and they say that that the tush push works 92%.
Yeah.
Your goal line fade probably 92%.
Yeah, throw it up.
Yeah.
Come down with it.
Let's just see what happens.
Okay. Who was your favorite player growing up? And this could have been basketball, football, whatever.
I would say LeBron.
LeBron has
right.
to,
I was most definitely a LeBron fan for sure.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
If you grew up in that state during that time period,
It's Bron.
That
it's
is
almost like
true.
saying Mike Vick if you're from here.
From Atlanta,
if you're
yeah.
from Ohio during that period.
That actually makes so much sense because that lines up with your age too.
Yeah,
like
no,
how,
he's the greatest of all time.
Right.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to see him like live?
He came to the Notre Dame game, which was pretty dope. Like, I remember we were warming up, and like, we're for the game, we're serious, locked in, like Notre Dame, big time game, and I'm like, bro, that's LeBron.
Right.
Like it's fun.
So you gotta take a second, like, no, that's Bron. All right, we locked back in. That's kind of what it was.
But like has to have that one moment of,
Right.
and then you turn around and you're
That's
like.
crazy.
Also, I don't know if you made that noise.
Yeah, I definitely did it. But
And then you got to keep it back together.
Right. Yeah. What is a movie or TV show that you've watched recently or watching recently that you would recommend to the people listening?
ooh,
I know this is tough.
yeah. I'm a big anime guy, so
Wow, you and Bajan and Tyler.
Bijan and Tia.
There's a big crew.
I would probably say.
What is it, like One Piece?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't got time for that. We don't got time for that. I would say, if you haven't seen it, I would say watch Attack on Titan because it just ended. The final season just came out, and yeah,
It's good.
It's 10 out of 10. It's
Okay.
peak fiction.
Love that.
Yeah.
And it let's try to say this one more time. It can be either food that is made by your family, food from Columbus, food from your hometown, food from here. Anything that's
Food,
like
question mark.
food, last meal type of stuff. What
My favorite food is pizza.
Pizza.
Love
Yeah.
pizza.
Number one. But I'd probably say my grandma's cornbread.
Ooh,
That's number one.
yas.
My dad makes it. Every time I come home, he'll make like 3 pans.
Just holding cornbread.
'cause
And like Zach is like,
Hey, you guys,
"No,
thank you."
Where's the stuff for everybody else?
Because it ends up only being 1 pan for dinner. Because between me and my sister, like we're clearing the pan. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay, last question.
Last one.
If you could have any superpower, what superpower would you have?
Ooh,
Yeah. We've had a lot of good answers on this.
I would probably have teleportation.
Yeah, that's
a good one.
top answer.
Either
for sure.
teleportation or shape-shifting.
Shape-shifting is a good
That's
one.
a new one.
Yeah.
I haven't heard someone say that yet.
Teleportation could have worked when Zach was in high school, because then they'd say all the media members and you'd be like,
Gone. Out of
gone. And they'd be like, where'd he go?
Out of there.
He's gone. He's done.
Totally worth it. Okay.
That was fun.
That was fun. Super awesome. Zach, thank you so much for the time. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. And please rate, review, subscribe to the Atlanta Falcons Podcast Network on Apple or Spotify. Please subscribe to the YouTube page, Why Don't You, at Atlanta Falcons. For Zach and Tori, I'm Scott. Thank you so much for joining Falcons in Focus, presented by Ticketmaster. We'll talk to you again next week with another great guest. See ya.